So would the last executive committee meeting have been in November? Does that sound right?
That does sound about right.
Because I actually.
No, it was February, Michelle.
Okay.
I'll send them.
Okay. Well, it was a valiant effort, but apparently a failure.
Are we looking for the last board meeting?
No.
Yeah, we're looking for the last executive committee meeting, but we will track them down. I thought it was just a good idea that we sort of touch base, quickly, as we're kind of getting our arms around how this actually functions. I will admit, I have been a board member of this board for, a million years. And so it was kind of shocking to me how much I didn't know. So, so here we go. Juanita, we don't have to have a quorum for executive committee, do we?
No, we have not in the past.
Okay.
And I lied, Michelle. It really was November. It was the board that was in February.
Okay, then I do have draft minutes from November. So who wants them?
And Bartlett.
I'll take them. I'll take them.
Okay, I'll send them in.
And we'll disseminate them and ask everybody to look at them. And we'll approve both sets from November in this meeting at our next get together.
Okay.
Can I say something? I have on my calendar, there was an executive committee meeting, Nita and others, on February 22nd at 2:00.
I don't have notes for that. So
Okay.
if Jody took them, I don't have them. And it looks like Michelle doesn't either. So I don't know.
Would you like me to follow up with Jody and see if she has any? And then that way we can approve 3 sets in case there are 3 set, the one from February?
If we met in February, I'm pretty sure we would have approved them, but I will send you the November ones anyway, and just.
Okay, thanks. I'll just try to solve that mystery and get back to us soon.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, super. Well, let me just sort of officially, welcome everyone and kind of let you know what is in store in this coming year for us to sort of think about, in addition to our traditional planning of Council Fellows Weekend. Michelle and I had a meeting with executive, with one of the vice presidents and her late in the fall semester, and it was about how how ACE can be beneficial to fellows 1 to 5 years out of fellowship, 5 to 10 years out of fellowship, and post 10 years. And it's from my understanding that they have collected a lot of, welcome Roz, good to see you. They have collected a lot of data already in terms of focus groups, surveys, etc., and are going to turn that data over to me, so the board can look at it and make some final recommendations to ACE about how we feel ACE can support the fellows 1 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 years out. That will be the bulk of what we're kind of focused on this year, in addition to sort of planning Council of Fellows Weekend and the programming that we traditionally do. Sherry wrote me today and said, I know I owe you data. And I'm like, yes, you do. Hopefully I'll keep nagging her for that. Juanita, if you could keep nagging her for that as well, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll loop back with her. I actually know what data that is, and there's nothing to compile. So I'll check with her to see what else she was thinking about in that respect.
I think when she and I spoke, I would say 3 weeks ago, I asked her if she had sort of framing questions that she would like the board to sort of think about. And then once I got an idea of what they were actually looking for in terms of input or, answers to questions, it would help me sort of develop a strategy on how to engage the committees and the full board into providing the input that ACE was looking for. So it may be that, but I don't know at this point.
Yeah, I have a conversation with her Thursday, so I'll try to close the loop on that.
Excellent.
End of the week.
Excellent. So with that, let's just quickly go around the room just so we get a sense of who's here and what committee you're representing. So I'm just going to start in the upper left with Stephen.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am the chair now of the Professional Development Committee, so I'm working on building the networking event, which was formerly called the Council Fellows Weekend.
Great. Carlos?
Perfect. Well, for me, it's good morning. I'm in the Pacific.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's why I'm having coffee. And I'm co-chair of the Outreach and Engagement Committee. And glad to see Ann here. She and I did the fellowship program. Best class ever, right?
Great. Yolanda? Who could have had a free hour?
And I may still could. I don't even think I'm in the right meeting or at the right place, but whenever Nita sends out, I put on my calendar. So in any case, I serve with Karen and Roz on the finance committee, but if I'm not supposed to be here and I'm in the wrong place, I'm happy to log off as well.
There's no need for you to log off. All are welcome. Ann?
Thanks, Rich. I'm Ann Bartlett, and I am serving as the secretary of this august board, and also a member of 2011-2012.
Great. Karen?
Hi, class of 2018-2019. I am the chair of, the chair of the Finance and Development Committee. And yeah, I do have, Richard, I don't know if this is the meeting where we have agenda items and the motions from our business meeting, et cetera, or is this really just to get to know you, talk about our goals?
This is sort of a get to know you. Let's talk about what our committees are planning for the year. And then we'll circle back with what came out of the committee meetings, either at the board meeting or previous. And then we'll have to, as executive committee, we'll decide whether we forward them to the full board. And there is a full board meeting in the fall semester. So we should be able to have a decision on those unless there's something compelling that we would need to act on before then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Roz?
Everyone, Roz Hargraves. I am on the Finance and Development Committee, and I am vice chair. So I have Karen's back.
Excellent. Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Bear. I'm the immediate past chair, and I guess then I have Rich's back.
Thanks. And she chairs the nominating committee.
Oh yeah, I guess there's that too.
Let's not forget that. Oh, okay, great, everyone. So, Juanita, any updates from ACE that we should know about before we just get some brief updates from committee?
No, if your conversation with Sherry was part of the kind of ongoing process of our redesign efforts for the program. So we are now in mentor and nominator interviews. So kind of the same questions that Lewis and Sherry asked you and Michelle, but of the nominators and mentors specifically about, where program improvements can be made. We are meeting with some of the subject matter experts who do large components of the curriculum. So it's a work in progress. We're actually already in the middle of the placement process for this current cohort. And surprisingly, it's not going as bad as we feared, which is a good thing. So
excellent. I wrote to Sherry today saying that I would host a fellow for a semester.
Okay, I will keep that in mind. They are, yeah, there are a few who are struggling, but that is because they want Princeton, Yale, Brown, Harvard. You
Okay.
know, even though we've told them about that. So,
Well, that would not be William Patterson.
it would not be a lot of institutions, but that doesn't stop people from submitting materials.
True,
So,
true. Okay, great, great. Okay, so let's just go quickly and just get a brief update on committees. So we'll start with professional development. Stephen?
Okay, as all of us, I have a doctorate, so this will be long.
Okay.
No, not really, but I'll try to make it as quickly done as possible.
Remember that Zoom does give you the power to mute everyone, so I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, yeah. So, we started talking about the activities for the networking event. We may conduct another survey this year. I think we did one a couple years ago that I actually implemented. We're also looking at leveraging ACE Engage, and I actually wanted to specifically bring that up because there's some sort of an announcement saying it's going to be deactivated, and we want to get an idea of what's going on with the ACE Engage platform. There was an interest in finding out whether we had the option in the future of having sessions at the annual meeting again. And we're looking at developing an onboarding process for members of our committee to try to do a better job in the future of, essentially engaging those people, if you will. I think we approved our strategic plan document, and I'm not really sure what the process is for forwarding that either to this executive committee or the board, but at least you have that information. And that's about it right now.
Great. So yeah, so normally what will happen is the strategic plan would be reviewed by the executive committee. And if we had any feedback, we would give it to the committee, and the committee, we could reconcile it, and then it would go to the full board with the endorsement of the executive committee in the fall semester.
Okay, and I think Anne may have access to it already because she's on the professional development committee, but she unfortunately couldn't make our meeting last month. So she didn't already know these things is all.
Great, okay.
and if I may, Rich, just respond to a few of Steve's questions. I don't know if this has gone out from ACE or what. I can barely remember the days of the week. So the annual meeting will be in person again next year. So as you all are thinking about in San Francisco, Diego, one of the sands. So you should think about planning for in-person meeting. They opted not to do hybrid, whole conversation there. And as far as Engage, they have taken this iteration of Engage down. They are working to with a vendor to get Engage 2.0 up on a different infrastructure. So they're working on that now, and I suspect that probably in the next few weeks they will have something to showcase to ACE's various constituencies.
All right.
And is the annual meeting in DC then?
No, it's in San Diego, actually. I believe.
Yeah, I knew it was one of the sands. I couldn't remember which one.
Okay. Wow. Okay, great. And then the other thing that Sherry and I just talked about, so Stephen, is, does the Council of Fellows have any sort of appetite to running a couple of, short professional development sessions via Zoom, like, looking at, post presidency, meaning, having a panel of presidents, one who has moved from the presidency into consulting, one that might have moved to a presidency of a professional organization, one that has moved into executive search, and what does that look like? We're hearing from a group of people, really, from my class and around that area that are getting ready to retire and are thinking, okay, what's next? And it might be an interesting sort of conversation to think about those kinds of, opportunities to just that aren't necessarily connected to the annual meeting to say, you know, what if we put this out there? A couple of fellows have asked if we could organize a couple, you know, short fireside chats with presidents and ACE fellows via Zoom as well. And I'm happy to kind of talk to you about offline, but it might help us think about our programming a little bit differently that isn't necessarily connected to the annual meeting.
Yeah,
Especially if it's going to go back to being in person, because the annual meeting is so focused on provost and presidents. And if we don't have sessions there, then there really will be no reason for other ACE fellows to attend. You know?
yeah. So two things to say. I did notice that Nita sent a chat that says we could submit proposals, so we can certainly do that. But it's funny that you should say that, because actually the reason that I asked about the ACE Engage was, it was actually something I didn't really say. A lot of the discussion we had last month was around whether we could do other activities in a fashion similar to what ACE itself is doing with those regional conferences or whatever else. So I get the sense, although I cannot really speak for the committee in this manner because we didn't really specifically say this, but the sense is yes, we probably would be interested in doing those things, because it was really all about what are other activities we could do outside of the annual meeting. And this, I think, is a fantastic suggestion. So I'll bring that to them.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think it's one of the, you know, the happy results of COVID that we sort of learned to connect this way. And I think if we could do, you know, short 45-minute sessions that you could zoom into for on a lunch hour or at 4:30, and you know, you could get 3 presidents or anyone from anywhere to do it, it might be, you know, sort of an interesting idea.
Yeah, it sounds great. Maybe we can connect outside to talk a little bit more about it.
Sure. Carlos, outreach and engagement.
Yes. Well, usually we've been working on the nomination of new fellows. So that's for the November deadline for 22-23. We just finished the Fidelity Mentor Award. And the previous months, we were working with the Professional Development Committee for the campus visit at my institution. So that took up like 3 months of the time there. Jim Fatzinger and myself, we just transitioned into this a couple of weeks ago. So hoping to hear from him, the chair, the lead to get the points moving forward.
Great. Okay, thanks. So Karen or Roz?
Yes, for the Council of Fellows Finance and Development Committee, we haven't met since the March gathering. However, there are a couple of outstanding motions that we want to bring forth at the appropriate time relative to fundraising efforts. Part of the things that we indicated during the networking weekend was that, or the networking event, was that we are more closely tied to the ACE Advancement Office, and it is undergoing quite a bit of change. And Nita, I don't know if it's okay to say this or not, but I know there has been a recent change made as well. So Justice Stephen,
you can say it.
Okay, so Jordan Perkins is transitioning to take advantage of another opportunity. He's going to his alma mater, Clemson, and he will take on a leadership role there. So we are, just as Stephen mentioned, we are thinking about ways in which we can at least continue fundraising efforts as the Council of Fellows, and then continue to work with ACE once they have determined who will be in the advancement office. I think Bathsheba is still there, or has come.
Yeah, Bathsheba is back, and they have a new associate director. So at least she kind of has some of the historical institutional memory there.
Okay. And Jordan is going to be executive director of corporate and foundation relations at Clemson. So for our committee, we want to continue to think about fundraising efforts, but I may also ask that the executive committee and or the board provide some clarification on what it is that we can do as a committee rather than what it is that we're asking the board to consider for the entire Council of Fellows. Because we want to do some fundraising efforts as a committee that does not require, if you will, or an ask, if you will, of full participation of the Council of Fellows. And that's where we stand.
Okay, I would, if you have motions that you, or policy changes or whatever that you think would need the executive committee's blessing, just ship those to Ann and we can put those on the next agenda. And then if we want to spend some time in your committee report, ferreting out what the committee can do and cannot do and what needs board authority, we can certainly, do that. I think one of the things to think about is, in the interest of no surprises, we certainly wouldn't want a campaign launched without board awareness. So if someone approaches us and says, hey, this fundraising campaign's going on and we don't know about it, that could be problematic. But I agree with you. Let's bring forward the motions that you put together to see if we do need to bless them or, forward them or whatever, and then have that conversation at the next meeting, if that would be helpful to you.
Absolutely, and I agree 100%. No surprises.
Great. I just want to make sure that we're aware that the next meeting that I have on my calendar is July 12th. So it would be, I just put that out there for Stephen and Karen in particular, that if you're going to have a committee meeting between now and July, do I need to pull the committee together to sort of deal with those issues prior to you having a committee meeting? I just don't want to throw off your timing.
Well, we're going to have at least a couple of meetings between now and then.
Okay. Do you feel like your strategic plan needs to be blessed before, because it really can't be approved until the full board meets. I don't
think so. Honestly, the sense that we had was a little bit of befuddlement, mostly because we just weren't sure what to do to move it forward. And so we kind of approved it and said, well, okay, here you go, Steve, let's hand it off to them. But I think we're fine with, I don't think you need to have a special meeting just to approve that.
Okay, great. Karen, anything for you that's urgent before the July meeting?
Well, I would say one of the motions put forward is to have a fundraising effort to raise I think $1,000 per each of the Council of Fellows class representations on the Finance and Development Committee during this fiscal year, which ends on September 30th. It could be that whatever it is that we can raise between July and September, it would just give us a little more time if we were doing it in June, July, August, and September, as opposed to August and September.
And Michelle, I remember this coming up at a meeting during your tenure. And what was the sense? Was it the sense that it had to go before the full board? You're muted.
Always. I think it was that it needed to come to the executive committee first before it went to the full board.
Okay. So Karen, if you just put together a couple paragraphs in terms of what you would like to have happen, then what I would do is ship it to the executive committee for electronic approval.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. And I think I actually pledged the $1,000 from the class of 0506
You did.
at the last meeting. So you can take our class off the list. It's the first class to complete the pledge.
The first and best class.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And Yolanda, I didn't realize that you were at Shenandoah University. I spent some time at Shepherd.
Oh, yes, in West Virginia, not too far.
I know. I was there for 3 years. I refer to it as my long weekend in West Virginia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's a great school. Shenandoah is a great school. They have a great performing arts component there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great, great, great. Okay. Michelle, anything on nominating?
Nothing.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay, anything else for the good of the order? Juanita, anything that I missed?
Nope, I think you got everything. And I'll shoot you the link to the recording so you can do your magic on the other side of that. But I think, for anybody who missed it, that sharing the link is fine. It's just so you can fill in the blanks of your notes.
Thank you, Nita.
Hey, I have a quick question for Michelle. What's the nominating cycle? When do you guys start that process?
Like November-ish.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thanks for letting me crash the meeting.
All right, well, anytime, feel free, anytime. Juanita, it might be helpful if we could get a list to Michelle of who's rotating off. And where the gaps are.
Yeah, I don't do that just yet.
Okay. All right.
I'll
It's
do
not-
it before
it's-
November.
Right, it's
And we
November.
probably should, Michelle, if we want to push that up a little bit,
We can,
just to kind of, so what I did, I think this past year did the solicitations in September,
okay,
just to allow time for vacations, lost emails, reminders.
Okay,
And then I collated that information that you're asking for, Rich.
Okay, super.
well, and it's my intention to go back through and reconstruct what Denise did because she was so on everything. But I haven't done that yet, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still have most of the kind of infrastructural pieces, so
Okay,
we can, circle back about those.
excellent.
Okay, great. So just in wrapping up, the only two follow-up items that we have are Stephen and I are going to meet offline to talk about some additional sessions, and Karen will forward her couple of paragraphs on the fundraising thing to Anne, and I'll circulate them for executive committee approval electronically. All right, anything else for the good of the order?
Well, wait, I think I'm confused.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I gotta go.
Is
All
this
right.
not a board meeting?
this is executive committee meeting.
Okay,
So the executive committee meets more frequently than the full board. The full
I
board.
just think my
won't-
calendar invite said board meeting, that's why.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that
okay,
was
'cause when-
the Juanita era.
Oh, okay, when Yolanda said, thanks for letting me crash, I thought, wait, it's a board
Yeah,
meeting.
no,
right, Yolanda?
that was me doing
Okay,
29,000 things, and I
No, I
just read
understand.
Anne's email.
No,
Oh,
Karen, I thought it was the board meeting. And so that's why when I realized I was in the wrong place, they were like,
Okay,
stay
okay.
on. So that was, I'm sorry for confusing you as well.
Oh, Nita, with the 20,000 things you have going on, if this is the one mistake, oh, please.
Exactly.
Yeah, Anne was gracious. I appreciate that.
And we're just glad you're here. I'm just thrilled that the F&A committee has such awesome representation. That's really
Yes.
great.
Yes. Okay, anything
That's
else for
how
the?
that's how we roll.
Apparently, that means that's great for all of us.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And if you, once we get that, the campaign approved by the executive committee, I'm happy to make a couple calls to some presidents who I think will write the check
Excellent, thank
for
you.
their classes. Juanita, anything else for the good of the order?
Nope, I will follow up with you or Sherry will about the data piece.
Excellent. Okay, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Give me a week, Ann. We're in the midst of commencement.
Yeah, I start Monday.
Give me 1 or 2 weeks, okay? I'll get it to you.
All
Okay,
right, no rush. No
All
rush.
right.
And Karen, I'll follow up with you, okay?
Okay,
Thanks.
All
okay,
right.
bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.